Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to All the Mods 6. So since the last episode, it's been a bit of time. I will say I have been having some internet issues. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, they will be resolved. Hopefully it's not going to be a long process. Zito's saying that the cold weather is affecting it, but we shall see. I did go ahead and I plugged up a couple more network transmitter setups. So now our mystical agriculture stuff is plugged up, as well as our wood farm over there where the peat system is. That's also plugged up now. One thing about the peat system is these golems tend to be getting stuck a lot. Like a whole lot. So I did change this system over for XNet. It's not really ideal, but due to that, honestly, it was like best case scenario, I think. Right now, he should be able to deposit things, but he can't. So I've just got it turned off. As we start moving into Mana and Artifice, we're not going to be starting it today, because due to the issues with golems, and some things, I know there is kind of a golem rewrite in the works that was mentioned. I don't know if it's still in the works, but I know in the past it was mentioned that there was going to be some work done to golems. I know that there is a Mana and Artifice rewrite for golems supposedly in the works, which they'll see a bit, hopefully a bit better control as far as the golems go. But since golems are kind of where they are at the moment, I think as we start moving into Mana and Artifice automation, we're gonna be using golems because there really is no other option within Mana and Artifice, because the way that it's set up, which we'll talk more about that when we start setting up for that. But things that should work don't work. It's really weird. But we're gonna be using them mainly for specific actions and not giving them a ton of tasks, I do believe, because I think it's gonna work out better for us. But anyways, I did change this over to XNet. It's running great now, because we actually started to run out of power and I had to come over here and move stuff manually, and it was kind of a nightmare. Also, let's see, I did a little bit of work in the mines. I haven't done a ton in there because I've been kind of busy on some other projects. If we pop over, getting a lot of lag today. If we pop over to here, you can see this area here is coming along quite a bit. You can see this is starting to get dug out, because bear in mind that this is going to be our flooded, kind of our flooded temple area. So I've started digging this out. It goes down pretty far. We're going to get more into that here fairly soon, as well as a little small side project that I'd like to get underway here pretty quick. But today, what we are going to be doing, as I finish setting up for Mana and Artifice automation, I've automated a few things related to Mana and Artifice and stuff, but today, I had mentioned in the past I wanted to come back over to bees and do some work with bees, because currently we have just a basic centrifuge. We have basic bee houses. I think they're like level 2s maybe, and I would like to do some work as far as moving into apiaries and actually showing our bees some love. Because, as I mentioned, I would like to start pushing a bit more into bees now that our mine is coming along, because that was the big thing that was holding me back. So what we're going to do, we're going to do just a little bit of... Whoops. Wrong button. Do just a little bit of automation real quick. This recipe here, what honeycombs... We have stand bee honeycombs. We're going to change all this over to stand bee honeycombs. And we're going to go ahead and make our beehive. And then for our tier 1 beehive, it's going to be this, and exact is fine. One thing we are going to automate is grass. We're just going to do it through the Nature's Essence method. There is also the Botany Pots method. I considered doing that. The tier 2 beehives, we can easily do this, and we're going to be doing this with the stand bee honeycombs again. I should probably just hold on to these. There we go. Another thing we're going to teach it is how to make stand bee honeycomb blocks. Let's go ahead and just dump all of this into there. Let's also teach it the beeswax block recipe. And let's go ahead and order ourselves a stand bee honeycomb also. The tier 3 beehive, this right here, we're going to teach it that. Because I think we're going to be going with stand bee honeycombs just pretty much for everything. Because we produce those, we don't process those for anything. So we might as well. And then we have this recipe here, once again using the stand bee honeycombs. And that's going to get us our tier 4 beehive. Okay, so now that we've got that, we can go ahead and order our very first tier 4 beehive. And we'll let that craft out real quick. So there's that. And then if we take a look, we can turn this then into a tier 1 apiary. It requires 4 tier 4 beehives, as well as some of our stand bee honeycombs. But we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to start steadily working our way up towards this. Now, to really start pumping out a lot of apiaries, we are going to have to get Wither Farm up and going, which we'll move into that before too long. But for now, let's pop over. Now, at the moment, I do not have enough Wither Skulls, but luckily, it's not a big deal for us. Because we have the Soul Sand Valley teleport. And of course, we did kill the Wither last episode. It wasn't a really big struggle or anything. What bee is that? Magma. Okay, I think we've got a couple of those, though. And there's the spawners that's making the Wither skeletons. If we take a look, we got Beheading 3. Meh. I'll just leave this stuff. I'm not that worried about it. I will... actually, I don't need it. I'm going to get enough to make sure that we can get up to an apiary tier 2, because I think that should be doable for us, and that's going to just increase our total output by quite a bit, so I think it'll be worth it for us. Okay, so there's our 15 Wither Skeleton Skulls, so alright, so we'll just go right in here, get our Wither kills. I'm not going to do all this on camera because it's not going to be any issue whatsoever. And there we go. There's our first kill. There's our nether star. Got a bunch of junk. Actually, spawning it in the nether is probably not the best bet. I might pop back to the overworld for this, to be honest. And actually, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and just get ourselves a bunch of this. And we are going to get ourselves a bunch of tempered dark glass. Well, a little bit of it. Let me go get some more obsidian real quick. And we'll go ahead and just get ourselves a bit of the tempered dark glass. Just make this even easier. And we'll set up a temporary spot. We're not going to keep this here. I'm actually going to make a little bit more of this glass. I tend to like making my wither cages a little bit bigger. And that's just because the wither can manage to slip out. It's really just like having a block above the head. But I like to make them a little bit more spacious. Be a little bit nicer to our wither. And we'll just use this temporarily, simply because I don't have the area built out just yet where I plan on housing the wither. Now, of course, we could use a wither builder right here. Might look and see what that takes, but I think that takes the Supreme, yeah. Which takes ether gas, which we haven't set up for that. And right now, we're just going to be setting up an apiary that houses our main bees, and then we'll expand out from there, of course. And there we go. There was our last wither that we're going to kill right now. I actually ended up with 7 nether stars because he dropped some wither skulls. And I went ahead and crafted up our wither skull fragments that we had. But okay, so now we've got ourselves 7 nether stars, and we can order our apiary. And actually, let's go ahead and teach it how to make the tier 2 apiary while we're at it. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and just teach it how to make the tier 3, which is like this. And then the tier 4. Now, we're not going to go beyond Tier 2. Tier 2 is pretty cheap. Tier 3 and 4 start taking a lot of nether stars, so we're not going to bother with them after Tier 2 until we get our wither set up proper. But let's go ahead and order ourselves a Tier 2. Now, there's actually quite a few crafting steps. You can see it actually takes a fair amount of materials. Of course, it crafts down pretty quickly, but it does take a lot of the beeswax, the stand bee honeycombs, and so on. I imagine when you put a dent, yeah, we're down to 477 of the stand bee honeycombs at this point, but there is our Tier 2 apiary. Now, while we're at it, let's go ahead and teach our system how to make this right here. I do want to get stand bee honeycombs. This is the Apiary Storage. And I want to make sure that our system knows how to get that. So let's go ahead and just order an Apiary Storage, because this is going to give our stuff a place to go, which is going to allow us to pull the items out rather easily from the Apiary Storage. Okay, so there's our Apiary Storage. Now, when it comes to this, we are going to have to change up some of our setups, or some of our setup over here, but because right now we just have rats inside of there, and we're not going to need that. I've been meaning to get back over to bees for some time now, and it is finally time that we do that. Now, before we set this up, I do want to go over a couple things with this. You know, we've talked a little bit about the apiaries before, as we talked about setting them up, but we're going to go ahead. Let me just clear this out, because we're not going to need the dispenser anymore with the scraper. That can go. Let me get a dirt block just to fill that back in. Let's go ahead and just fill that in. Let's take our rat out, because this rat can go outside for right now. I do think we're still going to use him, but he can go outside. Also, this ender chest can go as well. We're going to go ahead and just clean up the inside of this. Now, the apiary, you're going to see some stats here. 9 unique bee is what that means with an apiary. Is when it comes to setting up your apiary structure, for example, this is going to be our multi-block, you can only have 9 of any particular type of bee. So, coal bee, diamond bee, emerald bee, you can have all those, but you can't have duplicates. Hive time modification, you know, it cuts down the amount of time that it spends within the hive, and we are using this, of course, to cut down on the amount of time that it spends outside of the hive. So it should cut down on just overall time with our bees by quite a bit. And you can see output type is honeycomb, and output quantity is 16. And what that means is it's going to produce 16 honeycombs every time that the bee finishes up. Whereas with the old beehive, it was only producing 1 honeycomb. So we're producing a lot more with the Tier 2. And it should be noted, the Tier 1 is 8 on the output quantity. It's honeycombs. And then once you get up to the Tier 3, you start producing honeycomb blocks, starting with 4 and then moving up to 8, while still dropping that hive time modification. So moving up through these apiaries, we're going to get a lot more output very, very quickly. Also, if you hold control, you can see some notes here. The main thing to note is, of course, as we mentioned, when we were building this, it is a 7x6x7 hollow structure. Now, we can have other stuff in here. You know, we've got jungle support brackets, we've got lanterns, we've got all this stuff. That's fine. Just make sure that you do have the exterior part, that 7x6x7 hollow box, made with stuff that is valid apiary blocks. So in this case, we're using glass, jungle logs, oak leaves. Once again, you can check if you just type in like valid. You can see all this stuff is valid apiary blocks. So it's going to check, and it's going to show you everything that's valid apiary blocks within the pack. So there is a lot added within this pack that is available as valid apiary blocks. So let's go ahead. We're going to break open this right here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for right now. We're going to put in our Tier 2 apiary right there. Now, the position that we've got it right here, this is actually the correct position. If we hit preview, well, it's rendering. It's showing that these aren't correct blocks for some reason, even though they are. It seems like maybe it's a little bit buggy. It's also showing that we need a block here. The black means we need to place a block. We don't actually need to place a block. So the preview might be busted in this version. I'm not for sure. But if we hit validate, it should say yes. But you can see the only thing that came up is missing apiary storage block, which we have right here because you do need this for an apiary. But other than that, everything validated. It saw that this was a valid structure. So our apiary storage, what we're going to do, this is where all of our output is going to go. And we're going to set this up. We can pretty much go wherever. I think we're going to put it right over here, though. And we're just going to cut this open and put our apiary storage there. It is going to be visible both from the inside and the outside, which is how we want it. And now if we were to hit... Oh, you can see it's already validated. It's saw that apiary storage and said, okay, it's a valid multi-block. You can see we've got a little honey drop there, which does mean it's a valid multi-block. And we have this little section here. We have the bee import-export, which we're going to get into. We have the apiary storage and the apiary breeder, which we're not currently using. Not for this one. We will use it, but not in this one. Okay, so what we're going to do, first and foremost, I do want to upgrade the storage because the initial storage is only 9 slots. Now, granted, our rat should be emptying it out faster than it's going to be filling up, so it shouldn't be a big issue for us. But I don't think that these are going to be expensive in this pack, right? No, not really. Let me go ahead and teach it a couple of recipes here, how to make the various different upgrades. But it is also worth noting that with your Hive multi-blocks, or your apiary multi-blocks, like for example, this 7x6x7 structure, we could technically have additional apiaries attached to this. So if we wanted to, we could place another apiary here, another apiary here, another one here, here, and so on. And all of those will be valid. You can have as many apiaries as you can possibly cram into a structure, and it still count. Each one managing 9 unique bees. However, I'm not going to be doing that. I like the structures. I like building them. It doesn't really, it saves us a little bit of jungle wood and stuff. But that's it. And I guess technically it would make our sweet shrines go a little bit further. But it also makes your hives, your apiaries, feel really cluttered. When there's a ton of bees and you have a ton of different, the resource blocks like emerald blocks and things like that. It just makes everything feel really, really cluttered. So we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be making 1 apiary to each multi-block. So, but just a heads up, they can share multi-blocks. We're going to take our emerald storage upgrade and drop it into there. You can see now we have a literal ton of slots available. And then we're going to go ahead and pull up, I guess, do we want to pull up or do we want to, let's just put our emerald block there, just like we had it. And then we're going to take our emerald bee, we're going to put it right into here, and we're going to click import. Okay, it's going to lock it. It's going to show us our total ticks in the hive and ticks left, so we can see how much longer it's going to spend in the hive before it comes out. Also worth noting, we don't have to worry about smoking this. We don't have to worry about the scrape or anything like that. This is just it's going to work. And when the bees go into the apiary, their drops are then deposited into the apiary storage. Now we're going to go ahead and unlock the bee, which means he'll be able to fly around now. He'll be able to do his thing. And we give him a minute, and he's going to go back into the apiary, and then it's going to show him as being inside of there. So there we go. He just went back inside, and you can see now he's working on dumping off those emeralds, and then he'll just automatically pop back out. Now, if you do want to export your bees and take them back out of the apiary, make sure you'll have to click this lock button before you can do that. But leaving them unlocked allows them to freely come and go from the apiary as they see fit. Now, you could also put bees in here and kind of use them as storage, use the apiary as storage by locking them in. But of course, you could also just use a chest for that. Now, you can see where he dropped off his emerald honeycombs the last time. And you can see that we got 16 for a single operation. So we're going to have a lot better output from this. And just like you might expect, the storage slots on this, they can stack up to 64. So a lot of space here. A whole lot of space. And then let's go ahead and just put in that. We're going to sit down our rat. This is going to be your home point. You're going to take items from there. You're going to deposit items into there. And you're going to be setting on transport items. So he's going to start grabbing the emerald honeycombs and emptying this out, dumping them into there, and you can see the bee must have just finished up because it just dumped off another 16 honeycombs for us. We take a look here. Did the bee already go back in? He must have already went back in. That sweet shrine, yeah, he just went back in. So that sweet shrine really, it actually does a whole lot, to be honest. Now the other bees that we had in there are the gold bee. I definitely want the gold bee. Also the stand bee. We definitely want it as well. So let's just go ahead. We'll put that in there. And once again, we're going to put our bee in and we're going to say import. And we're going to unlock that. And let me just go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and add the stand bee in, since we do use him for a lot of our crafts and stuff. We're going to go ahead and get him running. Now the dirty bee I can wait on. That's not really a priority. The slimy bee I could probably wait on. I'm going to go ahead and do the slimy bee, I think, though. And we'll unlock that, and we'll drop our slime block in, say right there. So we've got 4 of our 9 bees already set, and then of course we can do an additional 5. And while I was editing footage, one thing I did want to make mention of is if you are setting up multiple apiaries in the same multi-block, you will need multiple apiary storages because each one needs an apiary storage linked. So I just want to make note of that. But anyways, we've got that up and running, and before we start adding more bees, let's go ahead. I've got this turned off. We're going to be getting rid of the golem because at this point he's not going to be able to keep up. Let's just be realistic about that. And something else we may need to do. Yeah, this is piling up fast. Let me grab this. We throw that in. Okay, the speed's not too bad right now. It is going to start getting kind of bogged down, though. We are going to have to upgrade our centrifuge in due time. But what we are going to do, let's actually just take this ender chest completely. We're going to set it up just a little bit closer, which actually I think I just want to put it right here, to be honest. Alright, let me go grab 2 rats, just two regular rats. And we're going to grab this one, and we're going to say that this is going to be your home point. You're going to be taking items from this ender chest, and you're going to be dumping them into here. And you're going to have this. We're going to say that the only thing that you're filtering, you're going to have a blacklist saying don't take stand bee honeycombs. And we'll go ahead and just throw that in there. And we'll go ahead and do a platter upgrade as well. So, transport items. There we go. It's going to take everything except for the stand bee honeycombs. Mason does get... Yeah, it gets processed. I was thinking it did, but... and it's just going to dump those into there, and then those will then get sent over to our centrifuge. That's great. Now this route, this is going to be your home point. You're going to be depositing items into the crate. You're going to be taking items from the ender chest. You are going to have a whitelist filter that says only stand bee honeycombs, because of course those don't go through the centrifuge. Dump that into there. We'll go ahead and do a platter just because we can. And transport items. Okay, so the stand bee honeycombs go straight into here. And then we're going to have ourselves an input node that sits on top of there. Standard item filter. No, nothing in the filter though. Well, actually, one thing in the filter. I'm going to set this to the deny list. And we're going to go ahead and just grab that. Then let's put a master routing node. Yeah, it can. It can go all the way over there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just link that over. Grab this output routing node. Leave me alone. deny, drop that in, and then just link that over. And that way we can move our items, because as we start moving into this faster stuff, it's just not going to be realistic for the golems, because they're just too slow. Now this one, luckily, this one hasn't gotten stuck. Like, he's worked like a charm ever since we set him up. And so I'm hoping once we get into our mana and artifice stuff, it works like that. I think maybe a lot of the issue that I'm having over in the farm is just the layout. And they're having accessing things. I mean, they were working fine with that layout before, but then they just got stuck and have never managed to get unstuck. So that's caused a little bit of an issue. Now the golem, of course, he was moving the gold and emeralds over for us, the ore, to get processed over in this. However, we are going to be processing over in our actual ore system. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an ender chest here. This is going to have an output node. So we're going to have an allow list for this, gold and emeralds only. So emerald, gold, and that. And we'll just lock that back in. And then all of that should get sent over into this, I think. Let me just check that. Which actually what we should probably do is use an ore filter, to be honest. So we might end up changing that over. Let me go ahead and just link that. And then we should be getting all the ore in over here. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll just cut that out because we don't really need the ore being stored up. So that'll get sent to the ender chest. And then this is the green, which I made this a bit back, if you recall, and said we were going to be plugging this up to our ore system. Today's the day. Which also means I'm probably going to need to start plugging up all of these. They're still not plugged up at the moment. That's because so far this has been sufficient, but I think as we start adding this and adding additional bees, it's going to become more and more important that we get all this plugged up. Because we're going to have a lot of ores coming in as we start moving forward. Now, as far as where we're going to plug this up out, let's go... Actually, ideally, I'd want it somewhere visible in here, I think. So we'll just have a connector that sits, say, right here, and then we'll have that ender chest. So that is ore input. Let's go ahead and just copy this. And we'll just paste. So it can start pulling all this stuff out, which emeralds should just be able to smelt up. Yeah, should be able to smelt up no problem. Now this will mean that the emeralds and stuff are going to get deposited into here, which is fine. You know, this is just as good of item storage as over there, to be honest. And we can keep that area over there more for just like the direct bee produce. That's not related to ores. So means we probably don't need as big of a storage area over there as what we've got, but we can stack some other things in there or something. But that way our bee system is completely changed over now to work with our new apiary system. And then from there on out, we can just plug up additional apiaries and all this stuff will work just by adding, you know, additional ender chests and stuff. So it looks like this has actually managed to get through, you know, pretty much everything from this, and is actually keeping up at the moment, which is good. And once we upgrade to Apiary Tier 3, we actually have less things being processed. You know, because right now we're making 16 honeycombs. At Tier 4, we're only producing 8 honeycomb blocks. Now, there is technically a creative apiary. I don't know how much. Creative apiary just makes 10 honeycomb blocks. So basically, moving forward, we will always have less stuff to process than the Tier 2 apiary. The Tier 2 apiary produces the most kind of bulk amount of things that needs to be processed. So, okay, so we got that out of the way. Now, the bee that I would like to go for right now is, of course, the iron bee, which is from breeding together the quartz and the stone bee, which is going to be industrial hemp and blocks of quartz. Yeah, I've got I've got 3, which is kind of my magic number that I wanted to make sure and have on hand. And the Quartz Bay just needs a block of quartz. That's great. Let's go ahead and add a Quartz Bay to our beehive. Or to our apiary, I mean. These are all... Oh, wow. Yeah, they're all kicking away here. We'll throw down a block of quartz right there. Okay, and it was the quartz and stoned bay for the breeding to get the iron. And it's going to be blocks of quartz and industrial hemp fibers. And later on we will be getting into the... There we go. There's our nether quartz ore. Later on we will be getting into the apiary breeder. But for right now, honestly, this little area out here is perfectly fine. So we'll just drop in our bees. Because that's kind of the purpose of this little area. And we've got breeding cooldown. That's fine. Let's just release these. And let them hang out until that breeding cooldown gets done. And while we're waiting, I'm going to get a tag item filter real quick. Okay, so if we grab, say, nether quartz ore. We drop that into there. Any tag, resourceful bees, valid apiary, forge ores. Now we want it to be forge ores. We want that as the only tag. And this will be the allow list. And then we'll just switch these out. And that should mean, you can see some quartz just went in there, some gold's going in there. Anything that now classifies as an ore will automatically get sent over to our ore processing area to get processed down. Alright, so all of our breeding cooldowns are done. Let's go ahead. And see what we get from this. We've got an aluminum bay and a tin bay. Okay, that's not really what I'm after. Now, another bay that I would like to add to our apiary is the glowing bay. Because I do find myself a lot of times having to go mine glowstone. And having the glowing bay in place will be quite useful. But at this point, we'll start quickly kind of moving through, adding a lot of bees to our apiaries, and adding additional apiaries as well, because they're going to be quite useful to us. How much is this one? Yeah, he's actually going to produce his first bits of glowstone pretty quickly, and then we'll need to add that. It makes straight glowstone, so we'll have to add that to the bee storage. Okay, we can breed our bees again. We're going to go ahead. That. Yeah, that one failed. Hopefully this one has more luck. Oh, we got a copper bee again. Okay, still having a lot of issues getting iron bees. Okay, let's try again here. That. Come on, iron bee, baby. No, we got another aluminum. Come on, iron. Ah, we got another gold. Ah, let's go. Ah, copper bee. And, that one failed. Okay. It's a 20% chance when it succeeds that we'll get an iron bay. But it's also a 20% chance to get a tin bay, 20% chance to get gold, 20% chance for aluminum, 20% chance for copper. I get everything except for iron. But honestly, one iron bay at this point would be fine for the time being. But we will need iron for lead, for nickel, for zinc, and for osmium. Okay, hopefully... Iron bay? Nope, nothing. Iron bay? Nope, nothing. Alright, come on. Yeah. I think next episode, I think we're going to spend one more episode on bees, and I do think we are going to get into the bee breeder. Oh my gosh. Another aluminum. You are not what I want. Come on. It's taking so many tries. It's amazing. Just to get an iron bee. Oh my gosh. Yeah, nothing. And another aluminum bee. Awesome. Getting a lot of aluminum, a lot of copper. I only have 110 bay. So I guess it's good that we did get the 10 bay, but here we go. Come on, iron bay. Another copper bay. What about you? Another 10 bay. Literally, I can get everything except for iron. Alright. Try again. Another copper bay. That 20% chance. I don't believe it. I thought we would go for this as like one of the last manual breeds, but oh man, it's taking some time. That one failed. I'm trying to break this block. And we got another gold. Another 10 bay. Starting to question if aluminum even, iron even exists. Okay. Another 10. And okay, I think this is going to be our last 2 attempts. And if we don't get it, then we will wait until we have automatic breeding. Oh, there we go. All I had to do was say, this is our last attempt, and it works. Now, granted, I want 2 of them, ideally, but for right now, 1 will be fine. Okay, so nothing from that. That's fine. We got an iron bee now. And I'm just going to go ahead, take all these bees and put them away. Now, if we wanted to go ahead and fill up our apiary, we could probably go ahead and just go with like maybe a 10 bee, iron bee, and aluminum bee. Because we have 3 more available slots in that apiary, and then I'll probably kill some more withers and get a couple more apiaries set up, I think. And then next episode, we are going to get into the bee breeder. We are also possibly going to go ahead and set up a wither, like an automatic wither farm, and get into maybe some of the special bees. But we'll go ahead and put our blocks around here. Yeah, there's our iron bee. So he's going to have to grow up. It's going to take him a little bit, but that's okay. Then we'll start getting some passive iron, and this stuff should automatically get sent over. Let's see, the iron honeycomb. Does it produce iron as a byproduct? I did notice the quartz. Yeah, see, this one can produce iron. I noticed the quartz was doing that as well. So I am still slotting those metals in so that they can get sent over, but yeah, all this stuff's getting handled at the moment. And we have so much glowstone dust is built up. So much glowstone dust. It's been great. But let's see, we have... Actually, we're full up on nether quartz. I need to put storage upgrades in these. So I'll probably order some of those, because we're going to start getting an absolute ton of bee products coming in. A bunch of metals and things like that coming in very, very quickly. So, but yeah, next episode we'll do a bit more with bees. I do want to kind of push a little bit more into bees, get more resources up and going, get into some of our slightly more unique bees and rare bees. Come next episode, get into a bit of breeding and start pushing more into bees, because we're finally at that point where I'm like, okay, it's time to get into bees, time to get into some automatic resources. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. I think we'll do, like I said, one more episode of bees, and then we're going to start delving into some mana and artifice automation. It's pretty involved. It'll take us a few episodes to get everything automated that we want to get automated. I'm thinking maybe 3 for mana and artifice automation, since it is a bit more hands-on than some other forms of automation, to be sure. So, Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.